I not want to lose, and so they didn't take that one away. I actually had named another department that I said I wouldn't mind if I lost. They didn't take that one away. They took this one away, which was fine, whatever. The one that they didn't take away that I had suggested needs help anyway. So, and I've worked with them for 7 years. They're just not always good at communicating. So I just realized, okay, I need to do a better job of communicating with that department and getting in their face, so to speak, and say, I need this information. Keep me posted on what's going on. I don't want to have to hear about a new major in that department from a dean. You guys should be telling me these things. So I just need to work a little more closely with them. Yeah. So yeah, the continuity factor is good. And LinkedIn is a great tool. I'm not on Facebook. But I like LinkedIn because it has a nice professional bent to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it has allowed me to keep track of students, old students, students who disappeared and may come back, and alumni.
So, we are influence actually, but so you go visit your students' page and see them post sometimes and maybe email them or do kind of thing?
Yeah. Especially if they've gotten a new job or something like that. I get a notice, hey, so-and-so, got a new job. And so I will immediately send them congratulations, maybe ask them a little bit about it. I keep a table, which I do need to update soon, again, of alumni and where they are and what they've done. Because that's a big question that I get from prospective students and current students. What do people do with this major? So I go to my table and I'm like, well, so-and-so did this and is now doing this, and this student went here, and they either go to graduate school or look, this person got this kind of job right out of with a bachelor's degree, and so it's very helpful for me to assure students that they can actually do something concrete with their bachelor's degree.
Yeah, it's amazing you keep in touch with, previous students, because knowing that you would have new students every year, and is it kind of difficult?
I think I consider it a part of my job, to keep an alumni, table of some sort. Because, alumni who had a good experience with the department are willing to give back to the department. Besides money, because the university is always looking for, happy alumni who are willing to give money. But they also are willing to, to talk to current students, to be in touch with them. If we have an event, like in the folklore and at the musicology department, I've had alumni come back to speak, or they'll send me, information, so that we can set up a display of what alumni are doing now for a particular event or something like that. They're excited about, the knowledge that they got before and how that has helped them to, to keep going in what they're doing, and they want to share that with other students or with with current students. So
yeah, that should be very helpful for current students.
It is really helpful. With a big department like criminal justice, there's so many alumni out there. I don't know all of them, but I do try to make them aware that they're important to us. So when I find them on LinkedIn and I recognize a name, it's like, sometimes, like I said, I'm like, oh, is that an alumnus? So I'll look it up in the student record system and IU, like, yeah, they did get a degree from us, and then I'll ask, you know, them to,
Connect.
and they usually recognize my name as being an advisor, so so they're usually, you know, happy to connect. So I've got over 1,000 connections in LinkedIn, and I would say probably half of them, at least a third of them, are students or former students.
And you also connect with current students?
I'll only connect with them if they ask to connect with me. I won't go seeking to connect with them. But if they send me an invitation, then I will connect with them while they're currently a student.
So other than you know, maybe be connected with former student, might be introducing former student, what kind of thing you would do to help current students?
Well, I always direct them to the Career Development Center. I mean, the College of Arts and Sciences has a whole office dedicated to helping students find jobs. And they teach classes on figuring out, you know, what major is good for you, what careers would be good for you. So I'm always directing people to the Career Development Center because that's what they're dedicated to do. They also have advice about graduate schools and things like that. Having experience with graduate school, I can help students a little with that too. And then students who are interested in law school or the health professions, there's a whole office dedicated to that. Health Professions and Pre-Law Center. Wonderful advisors over there. And so I have a bunch of their brochures on my desk. So I'm always giving those to students who express any interest in those fields and say, go talk to these people. They can help you prepare for law school or med school. They also have a great website. So does the Career Development Center. And if students are interested in studying abroad, there's a whole office for that too. So I don't have to pretend to know everything about those. But I feel a real important part of my job is providing students with those resources, pointing them to the right resources.
Like being a door for
yes,
students.
Yes. So I like I said, I'm glad that I don't have to know everything about those.
Exactly.
Because there's plenty of stuff I already have to remember.
Yeah, you know, as you said, it's very important to be honest with what you know and you don't know. And my former university also had, actually my former university did not have advisors because, I mean, like academic advisors like you, because professors need to be advisors. So
right, and here there were more, well, faculty advised until the changes started coming so rapidly. Faculty hate, I mean, they already have plenty of meetings to go to. And having to go and get training on all these changes, they just didn't want to do it. But their students were really missing out on not, you know. So that's when the College of Arts and Sciences brought in more professional staff advisors. I was the first professional staff advisor for Department of Folklore and Ethnomusicology, for Linguistics Department. Before, they had never had one. And in linguistics especially, and I'm still working with them, they had no notes on what they had told students. The last person who had been advising students would let the student pull up their record on his computer. I mean, he wouldn't even prepare. The academic advising report had incorrect information on it. I had to work on that. There was something else that was an egregious problem with that department. Oh, and so there just weren't that many undergraduate majors because they weren't interested in. They might have been interested, but they didn't have the personnel or the time to help students become interested in their majors.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to the linguistics department, there were 49 majors and 22 students minoring in linguistics. And within 3 years, we were well past 100 majors regularly, and about 50 minors. And in folklore and ethnomusicology, when I started, there were 22 majors and 7 minors. And within 3 or 4 years, the numbers are up regularly, 40 to 50 majors and about 30 to 45 minors.
Cool.
And so, but I have to work to maintain those. I'm in constant recruitment mode. It's pretty much a labor of love, something that other advisors don't do, probably should do for some of their smaller departments. Every semester, I go to the 100 and 200 level classes in person and give a 5 to 7 minute little advertisement about the major and minor, because students take those classes to fulfill other requirements, but may not know that they can actually add it to their degree program. So I come and let them know that, and I give them a little survey form that they can even, check a little box at the bottom saying they're interested to know more. And I collect those. I visit upwards of 20 classes every semester. When I had art history, I did visit that many. Now, without art history, it'll probably be more like 10 to 15. And now in the summertime, I have like I probably have about this many forms.
Oh.
For linguistics and folklore. I go through all of them and see if a student took another class. How did they do in those classes? Or maybe they did well in that first one and they're signed up for another class for the fall. I send that student a personal email and tell them, this might go well with whatever major they have. It doesn't even matter what their major is. I say, you can do this with this minor in your major. Have you thought about that? I'm in the process of sending hundreds of emails right now. But like I said, I do this because I think it's important. I think it's important that students, know that they can, add something to their degree that they might not have known before, that they could do. I think it's important for my departments, to keep the numbers up and to keep those, departments, to give them a higher profile on campus. Their graduate programs are spectacular and always have been, but the undergraduate programs haven't always gotten that kind of attention. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's part of why they hired me, so I can give them that kind of attention. And I've had students come back to me who have picked up the minor, like a business student picked up a folklore and ethnomusicology minor, and she's in Chicago now. It's a really nice job. And she told me when she was interviewing for positions, a company would see, folklore and ethnomusicology minor on her record, and it's, why do you think this is important? And she said she spent 10 minutes telling them why she thought, what she had learned in those classes about people and cultures and their backgrounds and stuff, why she thought that was important for the business school. And I linked in with her, and she said, I use my skills from folklore and ethnomusicology every day. And I'm like, yes. So that's one of the reasons I do what I do.
Yeah, you said like some people just tell students, what to do, but who knows which would be helpful for students. So it seems your philosophy is to keep telling students about options so that students can select whatever.
Right, yeah, those opportunities. They just never know what they will find, you know, to be useful down the road, or what kind of connections will help them.
So you keep searching options might be helpful for students, or
Well, yeah, like I said, when I get emails about different opportunities, whether they're jobs on campus or some kind of event or something like that, and I'm asked to send this to my students, I do. I even though sometimes it's like get 4 or 5 or 6 a week, and I'm like, because I have to kind of stop whatever I'm doing and send this email to. I have a listserv, but still, those few seconds I could be doing something else. But anyway, I send the email to the students because I'm like, I don't want to be the reason that they missed out on, a great event or opportunity. I don't know who out there might benefit from this. Now, my daughter is one of my majors in folk and ethnomusicology, and my oldest son was a minor in linguistics, long ago, and they'd see all these emails coming from mom. It's like, Mom, I don't need this email, or you send so many emails, Mom. I'm like, you know where the delete button is? If you're not interested in that, just delete it. And then some students are like, oh, you send a lot of emails. Can I get off your email list? No, you're a major of mine. You will get my emails until you graduate. And if you don't want the email, then delete it. Somebody else may benefit from it. I don't know who of you may benefit or not. And sure enough, I will get at least one email from a student who will say, oh, thanks for sending that email about that event or about that job opportunity. I went and talked to the person and got the job, and it's a really great experience for me, and thanks. I'm like, that is why I send the emails.
It's interesting because sometimes people do email lists and just let students unsubscribe or that kind of thing, but still you think it's important to
if
keep.
They're an active major or minor, they don't know what they may miss. And no, they do not get unsubscribed until I get the notice from the recorder's office, which for May graduation has not happened yet, that they've closed it out and that they're done. And then I will, this takes time too, then I have to spend several days going through my email lists, checking off the ones that have graduated and getting them off of there, sending a message to all my new graduated students one at a time, to say, hey, congratulations, can you just let me know what you're doing now, so I can, and if you want to stay in touch, let me know, and things like that. And then I have to go through all my files and mark the ones that have graduated, and I keep files for 4 years beyond graduation. So then I have to go through the graduated files, get rid of the ones that are 4 years old. That's labor intensive.
Sounds like so.
But being an old secretary, and that's definitely clerical work. Who else is going to do it? And I'm, enough of a, I want to know, have some control that, it's not that bad. I can do that.
Cool. So one more question before our lunch.
Okay.
I was able to tell that you are so enthusiastic and you are so popular, and you also actually got award, you said. And what are the secrets for your success, or what are the secret of your popularity? You kind of mentioned what kind of thing you did so far in this interview, but if you want to add something else.
I think like I said, being honest and being caring, being enthusiastic, being dependable. Like one of the awards that I got was for, part of it was being the advisor for the student organization, the undergraduate student organization in folklore and ethnomusicology. At all the meetings, I, help the officers of the group, with whatever logistical things they need. I'm always encouraging them in their endeavors and things like that. So, like I said, being dependable, I think, but like I said, the enthusiasm helps a lot. When I was younger, well before I had this job, and I worked at some places where there were a lot of grumpy people, there were people who just really didn't like having me around because I was just too cheerful for them. After a while, they got used to it, but it took them a while, like a year at least, to just realize I wasn't going to go away. And even this week, when I go over to the place where we're doing advising for new student orientation, of course I'm not there all day like some of the advisors are, and they know they have to be there, every day for 6 weeks. Though I'm going over there quite a lot more often than I have, but doing that advising just really gives me energy, and so I come in, smiling no matter what time of day it is, because I really am glad to be there. Mm-hmm. And one of the advisors recently said, "You look really happy." Or I'll say, "That was fun," at the end, and someone will go, "Oh yeah, I had fun too." I'm like, "No, really, that was fun. I thought it was fun." I'm not being sarcastic. Really, it was fun. And I think it's maybe contagious. I probably annoy some people, but I think the enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah, I think so too. Contagious to, your, co-workers, of course, but how about to students?
I hope so. I think it is one of the best things I love to hear if a student has come in and they're anxious or, they're concerned about something about their record. One of the things I love to hear at the end of an advising appointment is, "Oh, I feel so much better." I'm like, that's what I like to hear.